Transport Intel, and we're still live at Matt's. I think we're in the North Wing.
We are in the North Wing of the Kentucky Expo Center.
All right, North Wing, Kentucky Expo Center. I'm lucky enough to be here. I'm at the OOIDA exhibit, right? And I'm here with Mark
Reddick.
All right.
And I'm the host and program director for LandLineNow, which is the association's news program on Sirius XM satellite radio.
Awesome. And Nathan?
I'm Nathan Kelly. I am the videographer and photo editor for OOIDA.
Awesome. So, and I walked around, I saw Mike Matusik, he was on the show Tuesday night, and Louis Pugh, who I met first, and that's how I met Mike. But I walked around here and I saw, now this is let's step aside here for a second.
Sure,
this is your sound booth?
Basically, yeah, this is our setup that we bring. This is really the only truck show we bring the full setup to. We do it occasionally in Joplin, Missouri, when we go to that one, but this is really the main one we do it with, and that is kind of a smaller size Pro Tools system, which is the primary sound editing software.
Right,
and
program. Okay, right. And
we really operate somewhat more like a recording studio than a typical radio program.
So then, all right, so we're going to walk back into frame here. All right, so now, I mean, what have you guys already been going live today
well,
here?
We pre-record, and so we've already done all the parts of today's show. We did the the opening of the show, and the close of the first segment. Terry Scruton, one of my colleagues, did a news story for our first segment about the town hall meeting that OOIDA conducted earlier today.
Awesome.
Probably do something tomorrow with whatever happens with the administrator of FMCSA and the Secretary of Transportation.
That's at 1 o'clock, right?
1 o'clock, and I believe it is B101. A lot of people are getting the wrong room on that. B101 of the Expo Center.
And I think that's the press room.
It is not.
It is not.
It is
Okay.
close. The press room is B105. Seminar room's B104. That's what people keep getting.
Oh, man.
Everybody thinks everything's a B104, but that's okay. It's a nice room. You can go there. They'll teach you stuff.
Right.
But, we do a little bit of stuff down here. We'll try and gather some other interviews and stories that we can put on the show later. But the main thing is to kind of give people that can't go a flavor of this event. Because, we've got 70,000 plus truckers at this event, but they, the people that aren't here number in the millions, and this is really the truck show. In the United States of America, this is the largest, the best, the most complete of all the truck shows. And if you're someone who drives this industry, this is where you want to be. But, truckers are trucking. They're pulling the freight.
That's right.
So they
just
can't
stop
always
and hang
get
out
to someplace like this.
Right, yeah. No, there's got to be. And I like, when you try to paint the picture, think you're in the truck, right? You're in the truck listening, except you're in the booth talking, making a show for that guy in the truck listening.
Absolutely.
Right.
And trying to describe this to someone, no matter how good you are, I've discovered that you'll never give them the complete picture. This is just so large, so massive. The next biggest truck show in the industry is probably only as big as the North Hall, which is one of 3 halls. And plus, then we've got the show trucks outside. There's events at the parking lot, for God's sake. This really is the big deal.
Now, in the truck, I heard there's a truck. Is there a truck show happening right outside? Is there like a truck parade, or what are they doing?
Basically,
trucks?
It's a competition, and they're shining up their rigs. These are rigs that are very beautifully designed, painted, muraled, shined up to the maximum, and basically some judges that are very knowledgeable go out there and they'll decide who has got the best in each one of the categories. And they'll probably judge, full tractor and trailer, bobtail, a number of other categories. There'll probably be a People's Choice. I can't remember on that one, but I believe there is.
Awesome.
And then Saturday morning, they'll give out all the trophies. This is the Paul K. Young Truck Beauty Competition, and it's named for the man who founded the Mid-America Trucking Show and whose family still runs it. I believe we're on the 3rd generation of the Young family running this event.
Wow.
So that's a nice little thing to honor the guy that started this all. And if you go over to the West Wing, that was originally part of a National Guard armory, and that's where the whole show started.
Wow.
And it's become all of this.
Wow. How many years you been coming?
I've been here 13 years.
Wow.
I'm a novice.
Right.
I'm an amateur. I've talked to people who have been coming here for decades.
Yeah, so those folks, this show means a lot.
Yes.
To many people.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
And to some folks, they prefer a smaller one. It might be a bit overwhelming, but honestly, it's worth it. If anybody ever asks me, should I go to Mid-America, I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, you will see things here that you will see nowhere else.
That's awesome. All right. So then we're after 4 o'clock, kind of winding down in the first day. Tomorrow's going to be crazy, right?
Typically Thursday's the slowest day,
right?
And then Friday it'll get a little bit crazy. Saturday will be absolutely insane, but it's because you get all the people who live in Louisville coming to this thing.
Right, it's family day,
and the kids will get these sacks or these boxes to carry all the freebies they get.
That's where you see the wagons like down the aisles.
Oh yeah, and you'll see. One of our colleagues once described a kid, probably about 6 or 7, pulling a bag that was larger than him that's dragging on the floor. He's got the strap over his shoulder, and he's just dragging this poor bag that can't hold another thing. We had a little giveaway once for the radio program, and a kid walked up to the table, put his arm like this, put his bag here, and he was getting ready to sweep. And Barry put on his dad voice and said, 1.
Yeah.
So and they will. I mean,
that's awesome.
That same colleague once mentioned she was taking notes, and a kid walked up and pointed at the pen she was using and say, "Is that free?" So Saturday.
Not while I'm using it.
Yeah, Saturday is a little bit of a crazy time.
That's
but
awesome.
Friday will be a lot bigger, and this is moderate for Matt's.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that too. I've actually been able to move around quickly because we got lost looking for the East Hall, which is actually, so the East Hall is in between the North Wing and the South Wing. It's not actually really designated, but you're in it. You're suddenly there. It's like being in, I guess if you were headed for like Malaysia. No, I'm not. I'm trying to make an analogy. I'm all over the place. But I mean, I got lost looking for the East Hall, and I was in the North Wing, then I'm in the South Wing. Come to find out, I'd already been there a couple times. So, yeah, that's Matt's.
Oh, it is.
That's
it is.
Matt's.
One of our own reporters was saying, "How do I get to the show trucks?" And I'm trying to explain it to him.
That's what
and
I
he's
was
looking
saying a minute
confused,
ago.
And I said, "Okay, this is meant to be confusing for humans. If we were mice in a maze looking for cheese, this would all make sense."
Right.
But as humans, we're confused.
Right.
But we got them there, and
Yeah.
you can find your way around.
Do you know which way the truck show is? If just
That way.
I had a feeling you were going to say. Okay.
Yeah. If you go along the back wall,
because
you'll
they're
run into
sitting
some
out front,
doors.
aren't they?
Oh no, they're in back.
Well,
of the West Wing.
They are in back of the West Wing.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, so you go along this
Brother.
wall, you get the doors, you go around the back of Freedom Hall, which is like a basketball arena.
Right. You go
And
around
at
the back of Freedom
as you're
Hall.
going around the back inside, you'll see some other doors going in the West Wing. Follow the back wall of the West Wing till you see some doors going out back.
Okay.
And that's
past the
door.
food. Right?
No.
There's some food up there.
No, the
the
truck
West
door
Wing.
is before the pavilion, which is what you're talking
So
about.
this is what people do at Matt's. They give directions of how to get somewhere else at Matt's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much of it. I've been coming here 13 years. I have yet to see the entire show.
Right.
I
I'm
have
getting
yet
that feeling.
to see the whole show.
Yeah.
And that's great to me because that
Yeah,
means next
that
year
is-
there's more to come back for.
That is. Exactly. Right. How, in fact, I was kind of thinking if you're at Matt's and then you go to a lesser show, yeah, you'd feel, I don't know, like you're jonesing for more. Maybe.
And there's a lot
Maybe.
of wonderful truck shows out there. There really are. Some of them are just show truck competitions.
Right.
Some of them are entertainment events.
Right.
Some
This
of them,
is, but this is the big tent.
right. You've got the entertainment.
every-
You've got the show trucks. You've got the community type events. You've got educational seminars, and you have 1,000 exhibitors over 1 million square feet.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's a lot.
For $10, right? Is it $10?
Yeah. Well, if you register
It was
early enough,
free.
you can
I
get
know.
in for free.
I know it was free, right?
So
but it's not
early
free
bird
anymore.
gets the worm
Early
or
bird,
the ticket. One of
right.
those things.
Is it now? But if you come now, it's $10 a day.
I do not know. That
Right.
would be a question for someone at the front desk. See, I come
Yeah.
here with these little badges
Right,
they give me
exactly.
that let me go
So-
wherever I want.
All right. So your main thing here today is, I mean, you're on Sirius XM, right?
Right.
You're going live. Are you
As
live
I said,
to
we're
Sirius?
pre-recorded.
Pre-recorded.
So
Everything is pre-recorded.
Our show will go on
Yeah.
the air at 6 p.m. Central, 7
Okay.
p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. There's
Right.
mountain in between that. I'll just let people work that one
It's
out.
like the East Hall.
That's too much math for me.
Right, okay.
I was a journalism major in college. That's way too much math. That's all I can do. But yeah, we'll be on the air tonight. We'll have some stuff from the show.
Okay.
And we will have again tomorrow.
And that's Landline.
LandLineNow.
Landline Now.
Landline Now.
So what's the best way to get to Landline Now? Do you go to the OOIDA homepage? Do you go to LandLineNow?
Well, if you've got Sirius XM, you tune in on channel 146, which is the Road Dog. It's all trekking information across the whole channel. We do have podcasts, and they're posted every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's at LandlineNow.com.
LandlineNow.com.
Yep.
Okay. Or Nathan, you're more involved in the YouTube channel and the videography, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so now I know OOIDA is it 2 YouTube channels? There's the OOIDA channel and then OOIDA Business Education, right?
I believe that's how it's currently set up. Yes.
Okay. And I noticed, it seemed like OOIDA, because I look at the numbers, right? I just crossed over 5,000 subs. OOIDA Business Education has over 8,000. It seems like maybe more of the members, that's where they're going for video education follow-up.
Right. And to add on to that, we've actually started a new series where we are kind of hitting on every single department and feature that OOIDA kind of has.
Wow,
For example, business compliance, trucking insurance, so on and so forth. And what we're able to do with this new series is just make a video that focuses and gets down to kind of a good overview of what each department or service offers. And since I've come on board with the company for a year now, it's really allowed us to kind of create a new visual design, take what we have had in the past, makes things more modern, and just really make it easy to dance to, as far as what you're seeing.
Content over time, after it's archived, there's something about time that affects stuff that was made in the past. So you have to kind of freshen it up, or you can always reintroduce. You could do the same topic probably once a year, every year, and still there's something fresh about it that you can make and bring it updated. So that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. You can't just rely on. It's almost like when you go to work somewhere and they say, okay, here's your training. They pop in a VHS and you have a seat and there's people from the 70s and that's what you're learning. You're like, well, okay, so this is a little outdated.
Reefer madness.
Yeah. Right. So what you do is you take the 8-track cassette and then you find your, and it's always old technology. There's so many things to be updated. If you're watching a video from 5 years ago, how much ELD information would there be? Probably,
Right. It's constantly evolving, and the videos you have to create also have to be evolving with the content that's in it.
Well, the other thing is a lot of those webinars, and they don't officially call them webinars, but online education pieces, they're about regulations. Regulations are constantly changing and evolving, and so you have to create one that keeps up with that. They have one, or 2 or 3 actually, dealing with taxes in the IRS. Well, the whole tax system is different now from last year. So, yeah, you've got to have those things updated, but, one of the nice things for someone like me, and I think also for you, working at OOIDA, is if I want one of the best experts in the country on drug testing, I go up one floor and down the hall. Yeah. If I want someone that knows about permits and licensing, that knows more, maybe even the people at FMCSA, up one floor, down a different hall. The people there are the experts in their field, and then if they aren't the experts, like in taxes, we don't do taxes, we go out and find someone that specializes in taxes for truck drivers, and that's who we get to work with us on that educational piece.
It's amazing. I was just thinking so we're lucky that as things change, it provides us brand new opportunities for more content. And like you see, with an organization like OOIDA, you've got, having Mike on the show Tuesday, it was amazing. We learned a lot. He really got specific about technical issues of very specific language that only an expert would be able to dive into and spend that time. And he pointed it out right on the show. I thought, man, this is great. It's got to come back. We need got him once a month, hopefully.
Well, and that's the nice thing. The main mission of OOIDA, and it's actually printed in big letters above the front reception desk, we fight for the rights of truck drivers. Everything else we do is all intended to support that single cause. Our people in D.C. are all people that have worked on Capitol Hill. They've worked in congressional offices. They know how it works. And when they come to work for us, these people work extraordinary hours. I don't know how they live past 30 with the hours they work. I suppose that gives them an understanding of the hours a trucker works. But they are out there constantly trying to educate the people in Congress, not just the members, but the staff members that work for those members of Congress, about how this industry really works. And very often that means connecting them to actual truck drivers in their districts and trying to get those truck drivers to call into their members to help that educational effort. But we have to remember, they're not experts in trucking. They're experts in being in Congress.
Yeah.
They need someone to teach them what's really going on in this industry.
Absolutely.
And that's part of our role.
Well, and I think you guys probably feel this too. Like when I hear like Black Smoke Matters is going to do a slow roll, I'm thinking I need to get my camera, get on one of those trucks. That's how I can help. They don't need me to get in a truck and roll slow. They need me to help with media exposure.
Well, and the whole thing was something like that. I mean, OOIDA started in the trucker protest of 1973 during the Arab oil embargo. Protesting gets attention. It does draw attention, but what you got to do then is follow up. And if you don't follow up, then all that attention is lost.
I agree.
And you've got to do, and that's what the guys that started OOIDA were a bunch of truck drivers. And they were involved in that.
Todd Spencer?
Todd Spencer, I don't believe, is one of the founding members,
Okay.
but Jim Johnston, who was the president and CEO for 45 years, he was one of the people who was there at the time.
Awesome.
And they got together and realized, I think the way Jim put it was, our problems were other people's solutions, their problems were our solutions. You've got to be part of the conversation. You've got to be in there. You've got to have that follow-up in government on Capitol Hill, because once you got their attention, you got their attention, but if you don't do something with that attention, then you haven't moved the ball forward.
And the way I think of things is, when that attention is happening, get all the microphones pointed at the attention, get the cameras on it. That's why when we see, there's those moments in history, we see them every day. Okay, we've got the results, or here's an announcement, and you've got a podium full of microphones and all the cameras and photographers. This is how we call attention to an important moment, by focusing every microphone, camera, and just let's watch this and share it and be a part of it.
Every part of OOIDA serves one of three functions. To do what we do, we need people, we need information, and we need money. And I mean, and people think money for lobbying. No, it takes money to pay people and to keep an office open in the nation's capital. It takes money to get someone to a state capital that's 500 miles away or 1,000 miles away, so that you can work with that state legislature on something that'll affect truckers across the country who pass through there. Our job primarily is information. We gather information, we distribute information, and that's what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to find out what's happening out there, and then we have to get people informed about it. But one of the things you'll hear on our show every single day, is call the US Capitol Switchboard, write your members of Congress. Those things matter.
Awesome.
People think, they're not listening to me, or they were very curt or short with me. Those people keep track of. This is something I learned from our people who had worked in those offices.
Right.
Every morning, every member of Congress gets together with their staff and they say, who's calling, what are they calling about, and what are they saying about?
Awesome.
And they're looking. All you have to do to get something done on your side is have that one more phone call than the other side. And that's why we stress so hard the involvement of the truckers themselves, because if I want to know about an expert in videography, I go talk to this guy.
Right.
I talk to you all. If I want to know an expert in
talk to the experts.
in medicine, you go to a doctor. Well, if I want to know an expert in
right.
truck driving, I go talk to a person who drives a truck.
That's right.
The people in Congress, they are. People may not think this. They're not dumb, and
They're not. But they maybe sometimes could use an additional perspective of somebody in the position.
You ever worked with a horse?
Have I worked with a horse? I love this question. Okay, no, I have not.
You can actually steer
But
a horse
I'm thinking
without
a few
using your
things right
hands.
now.
You don't have to use your hands. And what you do, you want the horse to go that way, you move your knee in here. Pressure will set the horse to go the other way. Wherever you apply a pressure, that's the direction the horse is going to go. My sister has a horse. She needed to back it up, so she put her shoulder up against the horse and gently nudged, and the horse walked backwards.
Awesome.
Members of Congress are like horses. Whatever direction the pressure is pushing them, that's where they're going to go. You've just got to be the thing applying that pressure. Apply it politely. I mean, nobody wants to see someone abusing a horse. Don't abuse the congressman. But let them know, I am a registered voter. I live in your district. This is how this issue is affecting me. This is what I would like to see done.
I like how you are, sometimes we have passion, but it's hard to figure out how to direct it. And you're, right now, somebody watching this, listening, is thinking, I wonder if there's a way for me to be more effective and apply pressure in a specific manner, and that would be through your congressman, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The number one goal of any member of Congress is to remain a member of Congress.
Yes.
So what do they need for that? People always think money can't buy votes. Money buys advertising and so on and so forth. But each individual person has a vote in this country, and you've got something no amount of money can buy. For one thing, it's illegal to buy votes, but you've got something that money can't buy. And when they see, they can tell who's registered. They can tell who takes part in an election. They can't tell what you voted for, but they can tell that you took part. And if they look on their little database and they see that you're an active voter, their level of attention just shot way up.
It's interesting. I don't normally talk politics on this show. You guys know that. But I think one of the things that's important is when you meet face to face, and here we are at Matt's and we're talking to people, I like to open it up and what's important and what's going to help our cause and our industry. And this is a big part of it. I mean, politics is a part of everything we do. And so it's, if you were to listen in on what people are talking about, you're going to start to hear topics they're passionate about and how they can get things changed to go in the correct direction. So it's a part of what people are talking about. So, we're live at Matt's, so that's cool.
And I didn't let poor Nate talk at all.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, dude, you know what? Yeah.
We actually are finishing a video right now that deals with how to contact your DC representative.
Awesome.
And, we want to put forth the message that your voice matters. And there's many different ways to contact your congressperson, whether it's through phone, mail, or even talking to them in person. Wow. And even if you have disagreements or you feel very strongly about something, we want to make it understood that as long as you can civilly approach your representative and voice how concerned you are or how important this subject is to you, then they will hear you. And I think that's very important.
Awesome, yeah. And you can't stop. Just because you said something once doesn't mean that's it. Keep saying it.
Exactly.
Keep talking about it. Keep sharing it.
Repetition.
That's one of the things that I really like about social media. Is now, I can get a message out faster and farther than ever before, really.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. I love that.
But here's the thing about social media. People get on there, they say their piece, they think they've done it. If it's worth complaining about on social media, it's worth making a phone call to a member of Congress. Or your state lawmaker, or your mayor if it's in your town. We talk about truck parking. Very often that ends up being a hyper-local issue. Your city bans parking by trucks.
Parking. What a topic.
Truck parking isn't your deal in your town, but it is some other trucker's deal. Advocate in your town to allow the parking. Explain to your city officials how parking affects truckers, and explain to them that this is something you support so other truckers that deliver to their town have a place to park. And get them to understand what you're wearing, what you're eating, what you're drinking. None of that happens without trucks.
And it's interesting you talk about truck parking. Yeah, it's an issue that really most people can't relate to. What are you talking about? What do you mean there's no parking? There's got to be tons of parking. And it's an issue that I don't think it's very well understood. No. It's becoming a bigger problem than it was before. And it doesn't look like, if you were to look, if a person goes and visits a random truck parking lot, it's pretty full, right?
Yes.
And the truckers are paying a lot more than people would think, right? On average.
If
on
they
average.
can get a parking space, if they don't end up parking on an entrance or exit ramp, because that's the only place they have. And here's the key, to meet a federally mandated requirement. That's the only place that they can follow the law. That's crazy.
And then why don't they just reserve their parking space? Well, how can you predict that? It's much easier said than done. And even if you do know that you're going to be in Chattanooga in 8 hours, doesn't mean there's a spot available. And what if something changes? There's too many things up in the air.
There's a recent figure that came out, and it was from an official with Pilot Flying J, one of the biggest truck stop chains in the country.
Right.
And he said there's about 3 million truck drivers, but there's only about 300,000 truck parking spaces.
Wow. Now there's a good
We are short
stat.
by a factor of 10.
Holy cow.
When you think about it that way, I've talked to people here that are trying all kinds of things to find solutions for this. Businesses that are willing to let people park there. If you've got a convenience store that happens to be backed up on the parking lot of an abandoned shopping center, anything they can find that will provide some additional parking and give people a place. And they've said now people are recognizing such a thing. They're entrepreneurs that are buying pieces of land and thinking about putting it in as truck parking specifically. And
that's a great idea. Truckparking.com.
I do believe that
that's a great idea. And then there's an app, and then then it's much easier to find it, reserve it, access it, pay for it, whatever.
Yeah.
I know it's another app. My gosh, last thing everybody needs is another app, right? But
apps are useful things.
Extremely
I like
useful.
my apps.
I got the Hy-Vee app. I'm like, why would I need the Hy-Vee app? Well, you know what? I refilled a prescription quickly. I didn't have to talk to anybody. I'm like, wow, you know what? That's a good app.
Well, you just told me about one I need to download because I get my prescriptions at Hy-Vee too.
And you got to call, and you're like, it's a one. I don't call. You didn't have to call anymore, but you did at least you had to call in and do the menus.
Oh no,
this is just
that's
fast.
what I do, and it's like, oh, there's an app.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
I'm gonna have fun now.
I'm glad I could help you out.
I'm getting some drugs. I probably shouldn't say it that way, but
man,
that's
Well, you know what? Exactly. It's a prescription.
It's a prescription. It's legal.
Drug.
A doctor gave that to me, so it's all okay.
That's right. We're all good to go. Yeah, man. So listen, I want to thank you guys for taking time. I didn't know we'd have such a long and lively discussion. It's one of the things that I love about interviewing and talking to people. And you know what? And I always have. Do you guys have this thought like, okay, I really like this conversation. Are we sure we're getting it? Are we definitely recording? Are we live right now? What? Whoa, 27 minutes.
Yeah,
what are these guys talking about?
And you think that there's always that terror. It's like you look at it and it's like,
I bet I'm
I don't
unplugged.
see a file.
Right.
That moment of panic. I've had the moment of panic.
No, don't you? I hate that. Media moments of panic they're rough. Like, what if a cable comes unplugged? Here's one. I have a Cat 5 cable and the little clippy broke off. So now I got to make sure that thing is taped into the back of the Ethernet of the router. Just because a stupid clip is gone, I could lose my internet connection and my show's offline. I hate that kind of stuff.
But you know something? I kind of think of that thing we're going through. It's a little first world problem kind of thing.
I love first world problems.
But, I look at the folks out there that are driving these rigs.
Right.
You want a real problem, that's it.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's true. So, and that's also, I like that. I get a better perspective because I don't drive a truck. Everybody knows that watches my show. I sit at a desk. I started as a dispatcher. I'm a media guy, and I've got a channel where I try to give airtime to the experts so that we can help the regular car shipper, person on the road that's thinking that trucks are a pain, and I want to help educate the rest of the people that we really need trucks. We need to be conscientious of truckers. It's so important to our livelihood.
I like eating, you can tell.
Right, I like eating.
That's another thing I like about where we work is our president is a trucker. Our executive vice president, Louis Pugh, is a trucker.
Yeah,
if you go over in our compliance and business services, half the people over there's some people over there that work at OOIDA during the weekdays and they go haul loads on the weekends.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
There's people that I work with for years, and one day they said, oh yeah, I used to team drive with my husband. It's like, I never realized that. So
yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
my business partner Ty at CTS Business Coaching, he coaches drivers, he loads cars, he's out there, he's at the auctions, he's at the dealerships, and it's cool to have that where you got one foot in the business and one foot in the actual work. So it's really cool.
Well, Jay, I hate to say
Yeah,
it,
man.
but my producer was right behind you going,
He's going, time's up. Awesome.
So-
Listen, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Giving me this time, giving me this interview, and it was fun meeting you. So I'm Jay at Auto Transport Intel. Come on down to the Matt Show. Visit OOIDA. All right.